I have told you before that Jesus Christ was a black man in the first 2 episodes of this series. And this being the final episode, I want to categorically state why I believe such. Like I've shown you before, reading from 2 articles, one which I wrote myself, and the other being an article on the internet that I found. I've done so much research on this issue of Jesus being brown, and I discovered that it is true. Now, I've heard many people speak to me. And they are like, why are you so concerned about the earthly characteristics of Jesus or the biblical description of Jesus? Why are you so passionate about that? And I reply them and I tell them that I have to be passionate about what is true. If it is not the truth, then to hell with my passion. But if it is the truth, then it has to be investigated and it has to be spoken. The truth has to be made known. And they're like, it doesn't matter whether he was brown, he was white, or he was Asian. His skin color doesn't matter. It is his blood that saves mankind. I said, I agree with you that his blood saves mankind. But if his skin color doesn't matter, then why was it changed? Like, if something doesn't matter, it should be left the way it is. But the fact that history was rewritten, that the truth was distorted for sinister reasons, which I've told you already. The fact that these evil things were done by ancient Europeans to downplay the significance of Africa, both as a continent and as a people group, the fact that this was done is more reason why his skin color matters a lot, because we need to know the Jesus we are worshiping. When people think of Jesus in their minds, they often think of a white Jesus, which is nothing but a lie. They think of a white man with wavy long blonde hair and blue eyes. That is not the Jesus of the Bible. Means they are believing in another Jesus, because if you must believe in the Jesus of the Bible, you must believe both in the person and in his mandate. Okay? You must believe both in the person of Jesus, the man who he was, and you must believe in what he came to do. Because even in today's world, there are many people named Jesus. Yes, there are many people. I even heard of a footballer that one of his names is Jesus. That means they bear Yeshua as their names. But they are not the Jesus we're talking about. So it must be clear. Okay, it must be very clear. Now, the name Jesus in the New Testament is not the first time the name was used in Israel. Of course, the author of the book of Sirach is Jesus ben Sirach. That is Jesus, son of Sirach. And Sirach was a book of the Bible that was written long before Jesus of Nazareth was even born. So now we're talking about Jesus. Remember, in the book of Acts, there was a man called Bar Jesus. The word Bar Jesus means son of Jesus. Means there was a man called Jesus who gave birth to him. So the name Jesus is not just a name that belonged to one person. No, it was a cultural name. So there were many people named Jesus before Jesus of Nazareth, and many people named Jesus after Jesus of Nazareth, but we must be sure of which Jesus we are referring to. Now, my name is Global Gospel. There may be someone out there bearing my name, Global Gospel Ndep. Of course, I have met many people bearing my surname, Ndep, because it's a tribal name. It's the name of the tribe I'm part of in Africa. I remember there was even a late pastor in my city that bear the name Ndep. So if you call me Mr. Ndep, I would be okay with it. But if you are looking on people who bear the name Ndep, we are many people. Even girls bearing the name Ndep. So when you look at who is Ndep, you have to find out which Ndep are you referring to. The man Ndep, which man? Because there are many men bearing Ndep. That is when physical features come into play. This is the Ndep I'm talking about. Maybe there may be someone out there bearing the name Global. So which Global are you referring to? That way you have to check the physical features of the man you are referring to. This is why the physical features of a person is as important as his name. Now many people name Elijah that I know of. I even have their contacts. But if I'm looking for Elijah, a particular Elijah, I need to know how he looks. Because if I tell someone I'm looking for Elijah, he'll be like, which Elijah? Probably he knows many people named Elijah. That way that's okay, he's tall, he's fair, he has woolly hair, black woolly hair, he's slim. That when the person can begin to think of if there's any man named Elijah with such physical traits. Then he can tell you, oh, I saw him pass by. Oh, this is where his shop is. This is where he lives. So when you're talking about Jesus, which Jesus do you believe in? Which one? If you believe in the white Jesus, you are not believing in the true Jesus. You're believing in an impostor. So you see how easy it is for Satan to deceive people. You see how easy? Just to distort the truth and make it so subtle that many people don't realize it. You keep a picture of a white Jesus at home. That's not the real Jesus. You are believing in an impostor. And the idea that Europeans designed or painted Jesus to look like them is another hoax. It's another stupid argument. How about the Russian icons? It's out there on the internet. The Russian icons. Centuries long images that portray Jesus, his people, and many biblical events that were portrayed in those images. They portrayed them as brown in accordance with the Bible verses that I've shared with you over the first 2 episodes of this series. I showed you from the Bible that Jesus was brown skinned, he had woolly hair, he had dark eyes. I showed you right from the Bible. So that idea that Europeans painted him to look like them is another hogwash. Because if that were true, then every culture should portray a person to look like them. That's even stupidity. If I take Emperor Constantine of the Roman Empire now, he's a historical person, and I portray him as a brown person, would that be acceptable? Everybody knows he wasn't brown. Everybody knows he was a white man. How about I take Herodotus, the Greek historian, and I paint him as a brown man? Would you all accept it? Nobody would. Everybody would know that I'm lying, because we know that Greeks are whites. So painting any Greek man as a brown man, especially a figure of worth like Herodotus as a brown man, is stupidity. It's a fraud. Everybody will know that it's a fraud. Why then do you think everybody should accept a white Jesus that you know is not true? If you believe in a white Jesus, you're not believing in the Jesus of the Bible. You are believing in the Eurocentric Jesus, which doesn't exist. Because there was no white Jesus of Nazareth. There was a brown Jesus of Nazareth. Think about it. Mary and her husband took the infant Jesus to Egypt, a predominantly black nation. People who were brown, those were ancient Egyptians. Think about it. Jesus lived in Egypt from his childhood, grew up in Egypt till he was 12, according to the Bible. The fact that Mary, her husband, and their boy had to they blended into the population of the Egyptians, proved that the Egyptians and them had similar traits. If a white person lives in a predominantly black neighborhood or community, it will be very easy to spot him, because white is predominant in brown, in a brown space. It would have been easy for the Egyptians to spot the family of Jesus at a time when Herod was looking for him to kill. It would have been easy to spot him. But the fact that they blended into the Egyptian society is proof that they had similar traits. It's just like a Ghanaian coming to Nigeria. Unless he tells you I'm a Ghanaian, you may never know. Just like a man from Zimbabwe, a brown man from Zimbabwe coming to live in Ghana. If he doesn't tell you that he's a Zimbabwean, you will not believe he's a Zimbabwean. Imagine a man from Burkina Faso coming to live in Nigeria. If he doesn't tell you I'm a Burkinabe, you will never believe he's from Burkina Faso, because he's brown like Nigerians and he can blend into the Nigerian society. There are many people from Niger Republic in Nigeria. They are brown and they share similar traits with the northern people of Nigeria, the Hausas and the Fulanis. So they can mix and they'll blend in because they share the same physical traits. It's just like a man from Germany moves into Denmark, he will blend in because they are whites. Just like a man from North Korea or South Korea moves into China, a Chinese moves into Taiwan, they are the same people. So they would blend in because they have the same physical traits. But if a brown person goes to live in China or a Chinese neighborhood, it will be easy to spot him out because the skin color is obvious. It's obvious difference. Hope this ring a bell. If Jesus could blend into the Egyptian society, who are brown people, it means he was brown. It's very important to understand this. Understanding that Jesus was a black man changes the perception of Jesus and also reinforces the greatness of Africa. Because for long, we've been thinking that Africa was a savage, sick, and barbaric place until whites came in and civilized us. That is a very big lie. Africans had ancient technology. This technology was far better than the European technology of that time. And even till today, look at the architecture of Egypt. By the way, architecture started in Egypt. The Greeks came to learn architecture from the ancient Egyptians. Think about it. We had technology. The Ishango bone is the earliest record of mathematics in Africa. The Ishango bone belongs to Africa. So ancient Africans understood mathematics, understood language, understood crafts, understood infrastructure. The idea that all African houses were made of mud is another lie. And the idea that Africans never had anything, their wealth was only buried in the soil, is another lie. Present day Ghana or ancient Gold Coast The ancient people of Ghana use gold in almost everything. And we all know that gold is mined in the soil. So if gold is mined in the soil, and these people use gold in almost everything from ornaments to weapons to almost everything, they use gold in their structures, in their building. It shows that we could mine and refine gold. The whites didn't come to draw gold from the soil. They came to buy finished products. It means we had our technologies. We were skilled hunters. We were skilled farmers. We had our own ecosystem, our own civilizations. We had our own laws. And those laws were not barbaric as you think. Most of those laws could foster society. The laws you think are barbaric today, most of them were religious. And by the way, the white people don't define what is barbarism. Because even most of their culture today is barbaric to us. Yes. It's abominable. Like pornography, like lesbianism, homosexuality, bestiality. It is barbaric to us. We see that as abomination. So we will call their culture barbaric. And they will call our culture barbaric. So in reality, what is barbaric? The perception of barbarism is subjective now, not objective. Though morality is objective, the definition of barbarism is subjective. Get to understand these truths. Because if you don't understand these truths, you will be deceived into thinking. You will be deceived into thinking that Africa was this low-life place. That, oh, they came and built cities for us. That's a very big lie. That's a big lie. They didn't build cities for us. We had our own cities. They came and destroyed most of our cities. That's what they did. And the idea that Christianity was brought to us by the white man is another lie. Christianity stepped into Africa in the 1st century AD. We see that in the Bible. Philip the Evangelist baptizing the Ethiopian eunuch who came back to Ethiopia and converted his country to Christianity. And the Christian faith spread from Ethiopia to many parts of Africa. This is the history that they don't teach you in history school. They don't teach you this part of history. They hid it. But I did the research. It's high time we need to know the truth. And for those who think, evangelists, you are too young for this, my answer to them is, there is no age limit to the truth. Whether you're young or you're old, when you get to know the truth, you must share it. Because if you hide the truth, you are no evil. You are no different from them. If you see the truth and hide it, you are no different from the liars. Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 11, from verse 10 to verse 14, or verse 11 to verse 14. Go read it. It talks about exposing the works of darkness. That it's a shame to even speak secretly about it. It's that when these things are exposed, it's clearly shown who these people are. Therefore, awake from your sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. That's the word of God. There is no excuse you can bring to hide this truth anymore. We have to realize that Africa is a great continent and a great people. I use the term Africa because that is the name most of you know. But one truth, and this is the last one I will share for now as we end this series. I have more to share. And as the Lord permits, I will share them. The name Africa wasn't even our original name. If you think the first two series were wild, I will show you more. If you want to learn more, just contact me. My contact information are on my social media platforms. Contact me and I will share it with you. I am Evangelist Global. Check me out on social media. Or you can send me a WhatsApp message. I would share you my number at the end of this episode. It's important we know this. This is not a sermon. This is exposing the truth. The name Africa wasn't our original name. This is the last truth I will share for now, and I will show you how. That name Africa, the original languages of those names were Greek and Latin. These aren't languages that belong here. These are European languages, Latin and Greek. Those were the root languages for the name Africa. The word Afro in Latin is black or sunny. The word Frike in Greek is spirit of horror. Those are the two languages that were combined to form the word Afrique. Afrique, or what is called Africa, which means the dark land of the spirit of horror. That is what gave rise to this narrative of Africa being known as the Dark Continent. And the name was given by the Romans when they conquered the northern part of the continent. They gave the name to their conquered lands, calling them Africa. It's an insult. The very name itself is an insult. It's a curse. Because each time you call yourself Africans, which I hate to use that name, but sadly have to, because if I call us by our original names, many of us may not even know. And I will tell you the original name of Africa, this continent, and what it means. That's why they changed it, to downplay the significance of brown-skinned people and their continent and their homeland. It was given by the Romans to denigrate the African continent, just as they called the Middle Eastern territory which they occupied Palestina, or what you know today as Palestine, to insult the Jewish people and other people groups that they conquered in the Middle East. Any land they conquered, they will give it an insulting name to mock the people. So what was the original name of the continent we now call Africa? There were many people groups, okay? Many people groups like the Cushites, the Egyptians. The Cushites are the Ethiopians. The Egyptians, we have the Nyanja people, we have the Ejagam tribe, we have the Igbo tribe, the Hausa, the Yoruba, the Ashanti, the Nubians, the Moors, and the Nok people. There are many tribes in this continent. Beautiful people. But our ancient ancestors choose a particular name to call us. What is that name? Alkebulan. Alkebulan. What does that mean? The word Alkebulan, it means Garden of Eden and Mother of Mankind. Now you understand why they changed it. Because the original name of this continent is a revelation. So this land was actually the Garden of Eden, the mother of mankind. No wonder the ancient skulls of humans were found here, the earliest skulls, which shows that humans' birthplace is in this continent. You see why they hate us. You see why they distorted history. Because they understood. They knew something about us that we don't know. That's why they try to kill us. They invent bioengineered sicknesses and try to send them to Africa by all means. To Al-Kabulan. All things die hard, but anyway. They try to send these diseases to this continent to kill our people. They open their borders for brown people to go to Europe. Europe is very small compared to our land. And while you go there seeking for greener pastures, they come here, buy your land and take over. So by the time you want to come back, your land is owned by someone else. The white people. And now they can control you with legal right because they have paid for those lands. Right now, that's what they're doing. They're coming to buy lands in this continent. Meanwhile, they want you to think that there's no greatness in your continent. So you should travel out of the continent to seek greener pastures. Meanwhile, we have everything we need to survive and to thrive as a people in our land. So while you are out there, they come here. They build settlements here. What do you think they are doing? Recolonization. They want to be the ones to decide your financial stand. They want to be the ones to decide the prices of things. Who do you think decides the price of the food you eat? Who do you think decides the value of the currencies? Look at the organizations that decide it. Look at the country that controls them. I wouldn't speak much on that. They want you to depend on them for survival so that they can control you. And they know something that we don't know about ourselves. That's why it's important. Don't sell yourself. Be proud of your own heritage as a brown man. This is not to say all Europeans are bad and all white people are evil. No, I've always emphasized this. This is to simply portray the truth, the dark truth of what their ancestors have done and what their governments continue to do against the brown people and their homeland. That's to tell you what they've done. It's just telling you the truth. Jesus said in John chapter 8 verse 32 that you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. So it's important you know the truth of what has happened in the past so that you can position yourself to learn from the past. What mistakes did our ancestors make? What mistakes did the white people make in the past? What evil are they doing now? And how are our people partnering with them in the evil? Because to be honest, not only did the whites do evil, some brown people partner with them. The Bible says that the whole world is covered in wickedness. So is this not just about white people or about brown people? It's about the entire human race. We have to understand that evil resides in everyone, and we have to get rid of it. And we cannot get rid of it without talking about it. When you understand how dark evil is, that's when you appreciate how great good is. And that's when you learn. That's when you learn how to get yourself together as a people. By the grace of God, this continent and her people will reclaim what we've lost. The ancient technologies, God will reveal them back. The God who created us. And listen, we will rise again. We will only rise when we understand the truth, when we accept the truth as they are, when we work on ourselves, when we submit to God and take advantage of the blessings He has laid in store for us. May the Lord bless you in Jesus' name. I remain Evangelist Global Gospel Ndep from Nigeria. You want to contact me on WhatsApp? Here is my number: +234 913 268 6582. I'll repeat: +234 913 268 6582. Or for those in Nigeria, simply dial 0913 268 6582. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.